Okay, about mysticism. Mysticism starts when an individual, okay, knowingly, okay, um, chooses, okay, out of their own free will to pursue some kind of path towards enlightenment. Okay, we call this your own free volition. Okay, an individual's own free volition to pursue this path to enlightenment. Okay, so the one, the person, the individual that seeks this knowledge, okay, seeks to quench the thirst of knowledge. He's called the neophyte. And the neophyte is a very special individual who chooses this path. Now, like religion, like philosophy, like sociology, like many professions, there are different methods. Okay. Kabbalah is a method born from inside Judaism, which is Judaism is hard to quantify because Judaism is not strictly speaking just a moralistic religion.
Mhm.
Um, Judaism has a lot of different facets to it, okay? And you cannot distinguish specifically, okay? You cannot separate the sociological side of Judaism and the spiritual, ethical, moralistic side and practical traditions, ceremonies, credo, you know, all that stuff. Um, let's take for example, the initiation ceremony for uh, if you want to consecrate your life as a devout worshiper of the god Mithras. Okay, Mithras originated in ancient Persia, and the ceremony, okay, for the initiate, the neophyte, the one that wants to actually be included, okay, he wants to be privy, privy to the esoteric knowledge, okay? Most of the time, if you're inside the mystical, okay, yeah, quotation marks, mystical circles, we call it esotericism, okay? Mysticism has a very, it doesn't resonate anymore, okay? Mysticism has this kind of a carnival, circus, psychics and magicians and stuff like that. It has, for example, Wicca. Wicca is not taken very seriously, when you think about it, but it's an essential part of esotericism in a lot of ways. Um, a lot of it stems from Kabbalah. Kabbalah has, like every other mystical and esoteric sect or denomination or method or ideology or philosophy or whichever coin you would like to, whichever term you would like to coin for it. It's based on practical, okay, practicing, okay, ceremonial, okay, and actually, well, ceremonies and actually practicing, doing practical magic, okay, we'll call it. And there is a theoretical side, which is very extensive. there are a lot of different books on mysticism and esotericism. I'm specifically speaking about Manly P. Hall's, mysticism through the ages. It's called the esotericism of, or I think mysticism through the ages, and the initiation ceremony for uh, the cult, the sect, the brotherhood, whatever you want to call it, of Mithras, is the neophyte will go. He will be led underground into a cave. We call it a grotto. Okay, sometimes they are called grottos. Grottos are caves that are underneath the surface level. Okay, they are not just regular caves. They are grottos that are actually carved into the ground, borrowed, and he will be led by some. He is by some acolytes. Okay, they are lower level, initiates. They are members of the society, brotherhood, sect. Sometimes they are called cloisters. For example, Franciscan monks, for example, would live in cloisters, um, in monasteries, and at the end of these processes, I cannot divulge all the details, um, but there's a series of enchantments that the neophyte needs to recite. He has to go through something that involving a body of water, and at the end of the tunnel, at the end of the grotto, he goes back to the surface. Okay, he's greeted by the high priest. The high priest um, grants him, okay, a blessing, grants him the sword of Mithras. So he is from now from this point on, he is involved. He is the keeper of secrets. Okay. There are different oaths that he needs to take, the neophyte, the initiate, and he's basically in. Okay, he is in on the secret, the rituals, um, and his whole perspective on life changes. You know, the prism that you have on life is so limited to your own, and I'm stressing this term, ontological experience, okay, specifically. You cannot perceive something, okay, that is above your five senses, okay, as a human being, as a Homo sapien. We know about the existence of something called the consciousness. Now, defining the consciousness is something that's been happening way before the scientific evolution, way before Galileo and Sir Isaac Newton came on the scene, way before the Copernican revolution. Before that, people believed in the Ptolemaic system, that the sun, you know, revolved the Earth and not the way around. That actually Earth, revolves around the sun. They believed in the Ptolemaic system. It was named after Ptolemy, the Greek Egyptian dynasty. Um, People had a lot of different beliefs.
Yeah.
and they could not escape the conditioning. They could not escape the conditioning. They could not escape the oppression and the persecution of the church, of uh, of the monarchy. People were held down in chains. Most people throughout human history, they were serfs. They were subservient to the dons, the seniors, the upper heraldry, the regal uh, status and class. Um, they could not escape their own viewpoints, and I've mentioned some of the professions. Okay, they were called the seven, noble professions, and they were arithmetic, okay, mathematics, um, geometry, philosophy, of course, rhetorics, dialectics, politics, and astronomy. And for at least for at least 1,000 years, okay, um, around, okay, like this, for at least okay, 1,600 years, okay, let's say, that held true, up until the Renaissance, the period of the Renaissance, up until the Enlightenment, it remained true. For example, the founding fathers, they were very much interested in the classical education system. That's the way people actually attained, you know, um, they attained education, higher education. They built it. If you were a medieval or higher medieval person, or early Renaissance, there's a period called the Goth, international Goth period. Afterwards, there was the Renaissance. Okay, so if you were an educated person, you were a bright person, you were a cosmopolitan, you had to know, Latin and Greek. The other thing is, the only professions that were available to you is either being a lawyer, a medicine, a physician, or a professor. Okay, a professor, and most of the time it was a professor of theology specifically. Um, People had no idea, okay, or people who were interested in esotericism, um, they tended to be, very highly educated, very scholarly figures, people that devoted and dedicated their entire lives and careers to pursuing, um, medicine and science and mathematics and engineering. And esotericism was just an excuse to pursue, okay, science. For example, Leonardo da Vinci, he was interested in a lot of esoteric um, philosophies, but he sort of, He took all that, everything he learned, he converted it to practical uses. Okay, like building a lot of intricate war machines, for example. Building, he even, he made leaps and bounds when it comes to medical science, anatomy, botany, astronomy, many different fields.